This is today's AEW Dynamite full show results video, which happened at Climate Pledge Arena, Seattle, and the show started with a match between Chris Jericho versus Absolute Ricky Starks, and the result of this match was Absolute Ricky Starks defeated Chris Jericho by pinfall with the spear. Post-match, Jericho Appreciation Society attacks Starks. Action Andretti makes the save with a steel chair. He runs Rushot over the heels until Anna Jay and Tay Mello take him out with a low blow and put boots to him, and Jake Hager powerbombs Ricky Starks off the apron and through a table. Back from the commercial, Tony Schiavone introduces Hangman Adam Page for an in-ring interview, and Hangman said he wants to fight Mox next week in the Forum, and if he takes a red-eye home tonight and gets that last brain scan and it comes back good, he'll be cleared for that match next week. Jon Moxley comes, and he's surprised Page is out here tonight after everything he's been through, and he's sick of people treating something so beautiful like it was a tragic accident, of this candlelight vigil for Hangman Page. Hangman said he's had a month to stew on what he said and 2 months to stew about being knocked out with a lariat, simple, brutal, and effective. He knows a thing or two about lariats, and he's got 2 in the chamber with John's name on them, and he gets them at the Forum. Moxley says the only joke he thinks is funny is that Page thinks next time is gonna be any different, and his little punk ass doesn't belong in the ring with him, and next week he's gonna make sure Adam doesn't get back up. The next match happened between Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett versus The Acclaimed for the AEW World Tag Team Championship, and the result of this match was Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett won the match by pinfall with a lateral press from Lethal on Anthony Bowens, but we saw that Bowens' one foot was on the ropes, but Sonya runs over and knocks his foot down, and post-match the referees confer and the finish is nullified and the match must continue, and this time The Acclaimed won the match by pinfall with a victory roll from Anthony Bowens on Jay Lethal, retaining the AEW World Tag Team Championship. The next match happened between American Dragon Bryan Danielson versus Tony Nese, and the result of this match was Bryan Danielson defeated Tony Nese by submission with the Regal stretch. Post-match, Danielson gets on the mic and says it's good to be home, and he calls Maxwell Jacob Friedman down to the ring. MJF comes and tells Bryan he looks so much like a goat he wouldn't be surprised if Mama Danielson couldn't find a human suitor back in 1981. Dragon pulls the crowd on who's had sex with Friedman's mom, and MJF gets increasingly mad about it, and Max talks about guys like Disco Inferno, Eric Bischoff, and the smartest of them all, Jim Cornette, who have put him over. MJF said he needs to become the #1 contender if he wants a shot at the king, and said that if Danielson wrestles every week between now and February 8th, he'll be the #1 contender. Friedman says if he doesn't become the #1 contender the way he wants him to, his lawyer will run a filibuster and he'll never wrestle him for the belt. MJF says he'll be able to cheat openly with any stipulation, but Danielson says he's got the real test of being a pro wrestler, a 1-hour Iron Man match, and Maxwell agrees on that. The next match happened between AR Fox versus Shane Swerve Strickland, and the result of this match was Shane Strickland defeated AR Fox by pinfall with the Swerve Stomp. We go backstage with Renee Paquette interviewing Saraya, Tony Storm, and Hikaru Shida, and they complain about Team DMD, and the talk turns to speculation about Saraya's tag partner next week. She says she's excited, and since coming to AEW she's learned so much about the roster and the matches, and she says she's sitting next to the best wrestler in the world and Tony is going to be her partner next week, and Hikaru Shida looks suitably offended. Somber-ass boys make their entrance in the funeral garb with graphics announcing the death of FTR as of December 21, 2022. They get on the mic and say they're here to pay respects to FTR's legacy, talking up their world-traveling 2022 and saying they were 10 stars in their heart. They observe a moment of silence because FTR isn't here tonight, and FTR's music hits, but they don't come out, and the ass boys laugh about it, saying FTR will never work for AEW again and they're the best team in the world now. Then we saw a women's tag team match between Jade Cargill and Red Velvet versus Kiera Hogan and Sky Blue, and the result of this match was Jade Cargill and Red Velvet won the match by pinfall with a big boot from Cargill on Kiera Hogan. In the main event of the show, we saw a match between Darby Allin versus Samoa Joe for the AEW TNT Championship, and the result of this match was Darby Allin defeated Samoa Joe by pinfall with 2 back-to-back coffin drops, and becomes the new TNT champion of the world, and post-match Sting and Darby celebrated together, and the show goes off the air.